Hello, good people. Welcome to our show. Hello, bad people. Welcome to our show. Anyone who want to learn more about SEO, especially for software as a service, and we are going to touch more about AI because it's hard to ignore this topic. That was simple before, hard today, impossible tomorrow. And I use a lot AI, and I think all niches can use this tool, but don't overuse. If you overuse, you can get only generic content. I'm so excited to discuss this topic with Marcin Chirowski. How are you?
Hey, Anatoly, excited to be a second time on the show. So yeah, thanks for having me here. Yeah, I'm awesome, man. Yeah, just enjoy the holiday, coming back refreshed. So yeah, all good in here. And then
Nice.
such a good stuff happening in SEO and then AI. It feels like so many times. So many people trying to call like, okay, SEO's dead. Now SEO's dead. Like AI coming out, okay, SEO is for sure that, but it's like far from being that. So yeah.
Yeah, you didn't give me a chance because after the first episode, when I learned a lot, I got it. I need to invite one more time because of value. So um, I can't blame you because you share value a lot. So that's why I usually ask one more time great speakers to tell more about SEO because I'm student on this life. I need to learn. And I think according to SEO is that I think SEO will be dead because everything has the end, everything. But if you have experience with SEO, you can adapt to any other channel. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
what kind of channel will come. For example, marketers on TV and radio didn't lose their jobs. They adapted to digital, podcast, YouTube, and
Yeah.
SEO doesn't teach how to rank your website in the top 10. SEO teaches how to create high quality content, how to increase website speed, how to earn backlinks that will bring traffic and create brand awareness. So I'm so excited only about the future, and I don't care if SEO will be dead because we can adapt to channels where our audience will come. Marcel, before we start, just tell more about yourself, experience, background. Remind
hmm
about your experience and tell new
Yeah.
listeners who might not know you about SEO, your experience, anything.
Yeah. Thanks. Sure. Yeah, happy to. So yeah, quick backstory on myself. So I've been doing SEO for like forever. Feel like is it since 2006 I started? Yeah, 2006. So yeah, it seems like it's forever and nearly like 20 years by now. So yeah, a lot of time has passed, but enjoying it. I've been in London for many years. Recently came back to Poland 2018. Started an agency. So like a small agency, we help SaaS brands with SEO. Been growing that. So yeah, you might have seen me before in a couple of places, but then yeah, been in the woods, so to speak, working with the team to just make the awesome results for the clients. Yeah.
Nice, awesome. Um, Before the podcast, we chatted a little bit about
Yeah.
what we can share today, something different, because I'll submit the first episode with you in the description. So, guys, if you want to learn more, you can learn from two episodes. And I want to start from my live question about creating the right strategy. Can you tell how to do it? Because many webmasters still chase high volume, use Ahrefs, SEMrush, Google find a list of keywords and think how to overcome big brands that occupy in the top 10 results. So, Martin, tell us what to do, how to find
hmm
keywords that will bring sales and have low competition.
yeah, good question. I mean, it feels like we sort of like we talked about this subject like before. So if anyone is like just sort of like get into that topic, definitely interesting topic. But then what I will probably say again is that it needs to relate very much into your target audience. I mean, the keywords these days are like could be very competitive. Some of them like super competitive, like top funnel. Sometimes doesn't actually. There's no point of targeting top funnel anymore. So you should be very specific in terms of your target audience and make it very clear what type of keywords they're searching for. So think about hard about the problems that people are having, and then how they could be solved by the content, so you can attract the right keyword. So it's all about the audience you're trying to target. Really no point of just going like, shotgun approach and then trying to get all the top funnel keywords. Just be specific on your problems that audience is facing, and then create the content around that. So yeah, almost like work backwards, in the keywords strategies. That's
Nice.
kind of my approach. And then of course there's like millions of tools to use it. So yeah.
Yeah, we have a million of tools, great tools, low recognition tools, and many of them are great. But it's interesting. You remind me how one lawyer uh, creates content. So this lawyer found that all his clients play golf. So and he started to create content about golf to submit call to action,
Hmm.
and he got a million contracts with big clients because of creating content about golf, not about
Yeah.
law, because his clients don't care about law, don't care about of course they care, but they don't learn, in
Hmm.
blogs, but they like to play poker.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, golf. Can you tell how to find such topics? I mean, like,
Right.
for example, if I have clients who have some interest, how to create content and submit this call to action.
Yeah, yeah. Very good point, actually. Yeah. So when I previously mentioned like go with where your target audience is, like having the problems, it's not just the problems looks like, it's also the aspirations, the things people do like doing. Like if the goal is the thing, and then you want to reach those people, very good approach, very good approach to tackle that, definitely. So how we can do more of that, of course this comes like from like user research, and then sort of like coming up the good questions to trying to understand as much as possible what ticks almost like in your target audience. It might be golf, it might be all sorts of other things like fishing, or like all sorts of other things. And then it's all about like positioning the product. I mean, it's got to fit. You cannot just jump from like, I don't know, like you golf and then all of a sudden you're selling insurance. There's got to be some connection. So some connection between those two. So yeah. If the golf content is the one, and then if you're attracting golfers, then great. But then they would expect something like golf related on the website. They wouldn't necessarily expect to see, I don't know, like manufacturing, for example. They won't sort of associate it with the brand. So there's got to be a way to hook them in first, get to know them, engage with them somehow, and then perhaps like, move them into the right direction you want to. Otherwise, there's no close association between.
Nice, nice. Yeah, love it,
Yeah.
love it. Martin, I wanna ask about AI.
Mhm.
I think I use a lot AI, but I often see when content creators overuse AI, and I cooperate with some specialist writers who can post content on Forbes, CNN, many other great websites, and all of them, without any exception, use ChatGPT.
Wow.
Without any
Yeah.
exception. So, yeah, we cooperate with them. We can't deny this tool exists, and I love using this tool, but I never generate content. I feed
Hmm.
this tool with the right data. I can edit content, so I can write a bad copy and ask ChatGPT, please edit according to my audience demographics, interests, hobbies, simplify
Yeah, yeah,
experience, and it works well. So I don't need to be a great writer. Basically,
yeah.
I'm a terrible writer, but this tool can help to decide my problem. So can you tell your methods how to use AI? Because you mentioned that you're going to share more about AI. I'm excited to learn your
Yeah,
methods.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, there's no doubt that AI is going to sort of like change, everything that we talk about. Like, we are in such an interesting moment in history where it's just like phenomenal, amazing, like what's possible with AI, and we just literally just scratching the surface. So for any business, SaaS or no, they should be investing a lot in spending time on learning about AI and then sort of understanding like how to use it. So ChatGPT is, of course, is one of the main most recognizable tools, but there's so many others that are like popping up based on that. So yeah, definitely game changer, and definitely gonna kill SEO. If anything, it's gonna make it more effective and more like efficient, essentially, because of what you just been describing is just one use case, like writing content. But there's if it's just limited by our imagination in terms of like what are the use cases, because there's so much use cases for AI. It's just insane. For SEO alone, there's a lot of use cases happening and people are using it. In fact, we started using it at our agency as well, for all sorts of things. So I've been sort of like looking into AI since like probably like 2017. Google has been like playing. They've been actually, actively using AI since like 2015. But the difference is now that we've got ChatGPT coming after OpenAI, then essentially that's revolutionizing the way we use it. Previously, it was like big brands. They can only use it, like IBM, all sorts of big boys. They've been using AI for a long time. They call it machine learning, and whatever it was. But now it's in hands of people. So essentially, that's what makes it a huge difference. Because first of all, it's accessible in a similar way that it was accessible for like open source software, or software as a service was actually become a lot more accessible when the technology evolved over time. And that's why the accessibility to that is actually massive, so all of us in SEO, in marketing, in all sorts of different fields are coming up with ways of using it. And I think that's kind of like the next evolution, because we're really just starting this revolution, and it's been like, not that far. Of course, AI was a long time before. It's just like it wasn't accessible as much as it is now. So yeah, that's a huge difference from SEO point of view, and then from all sorts of ways, So yeah, I could think of like hundreds of use cases, at this moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think AI is a game changer. It's really revolution. We can't deny it. And
Yeah.
uh, I wanna ask how to control content creators. For example, I think AI is great if you use it smart. It's the same with any tool. iChref, SEMrush. You can use
Yeah.
these tools without understanding features. Just and I often see it when some masters share a list of keywords like 100K keywords to have one copywriter in a team, and they're going to
Hmm.
create 1,000 pages. I usually tell
Yeah.
them why you need to create 1,000 pages if you have no resources. You're not Forbes. You have
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
500 people in your team. Just create one, the best content. If you have it, then move on. Create other pages. But anyway, I want to ask about AI. For example, as I mentioned, I cooperate with great writers who
Hmm.
post on Forbes, Bloomberg,
Yeah.
Investopedia,
Yeah.
and all of them use AI. And it's hard because people are still people. They can
Hmm.
over
Yeah.
generate content, just create generic content. So tell your methods how to
Yeah.
control
Yeah.
the process. How
Yeah.
do we know that this content stand out
Absolutely.
from the rest?
Yeah, absolutely. So just first, like, just clarify. I mean, we're not using ChatGPT like to generate content, like the whole thing. You know, we
Mhm.
still like when the way we work with the clients is that it's it's almost like supported by AI, you know, or like excelled by AI. It's not some like, you know, that we give ChatGPT, hey, write me an article. This is just not the way that ChatGPT or any other tools was, you know, invented. The way that it should be used is, first of all, you need to give a lot of context, you know, to AI, because if you think about it, it's like large language models like them. It's they got a data set, train on the large data set, and then but they have no context, nothing about your brand, your target audience. They don't know anything, so you need to be very specific and then very sort of like to the point with your prompts, you know, with the way you use it. So that's why the prompt engineering or like prompt writing is a skill, you know, and then it's like probably one of the best skills you can learn, you know, 2023 and beyond. Because it's not about just saying like, hey, write an article for me that will appear on Forbes. It's just nowhere, you know, that's gonna be the case, you know. So yeah, first of all, we use it for content briefs, you know, so that's one method, one usage that we're using to our clients. So we've been using Phrase about like 2 years now. And then Phrase is actually great at sort of using, it's a cross between AI and sort of like scraping the SERP results. So you need to know what's actually at the top. So Phrase can help you. And then, so yeah, but then still, there are so many ways that, you know, you need to rely on the writers. AI can help you with like content ideas, something that human wouldn't never necessarily come up with, you know, because they're so unique essentially. But at the same time, it's got a lot of limitations, you know. So like, first is context, second it could be bias, you know, towards something, third it could potentially have no like background history on a lot of things, you know, that hasn't been included in the data set. So it's got to, yeah, it's got limitations. So I wouldn't necessarily use it for the whole thing. But things like keyword research, you know, content clustering, you know, all sorts of like semantic usage of the language. That's what it's invented. At the end, it's the large language model essentially to train on that language modeling. So it's got everything there. It's just you need to learn how to use it. You know,
Mhm.
otherwise it's almost like, you know, if you think about like ChatGPT, just think about like a super smart geek that's actually sitting in the corner, and then you come up to him, and he knows everything, you know, about like given topic, but he doesn't have any context. He, you know, he's been living in front of his computer for entire life. He doesn't have any information from the external world, almost like, you know. So yeah, you need to approach this geek with the really sort of like formulated prompt, you know. So yeah, typically the prompts are like super long,
Yeah.
you know,
Uh,
if you want to get something meaningful. And then the other thing is that once you get the prompt, you need to, you know, revise it, you know, a number of times. And then after a few iterations, you will get somewhere. I wouldn't just use the first one and just, okay, that's it. Yeah, I'm done here. You know, you should be reviewing it, and also like keep in mind that ChatGPT have limitations in terms of the characters. So it might actually forget what you asked them at the top. You know, so yeah, that's the thing as well. You know, of course that's extended with the ChatGPT 4. You know, but then 3.5 not so great. You know,
mhm.
so
Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
there's others. There's others. There's Clue. There's this bunch of others that are coming up, of course. And then just text generation, of course, we're talking about here, because there's in AI there's so many other things like, image generation, music, video, all sorts of things that have we haven't even talked about. But that's one of the use cases, really.
Nice. Yeah, love it, love it. Uh, you mentioned in the beginning of our podcast about it's important to learn customers, and I love
Yeah,
marketing books that was written before digital.
yeah, yeah,
Joe Sugarman wrote great books. Seth Godin writes book today as well. But I mean, like many great books were written. Even Dale Carnegie, he was not marketer, but he wrote a great
yeah,
book
yeah.
about a human being, about psychology, because technologies change, and
Hmm.
marketing, digital marketing, is a quickly uh, changing world. But people are the same. Nothing
Yeah.
changed. Him psychology, people are the same. Just how
Hmm.
they consume content. Yeah, only approaches. And uh, I think the era of lazy marketers is dead. We need to learn.
Hmm.
And for example, in digital, when I see marketers use only tools to learn customers, I'm not sure it's enough. So can you
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
your methods, how to learn customers, how to collect data, how to analyze and learn what kind of content or marketing to create specifically to customers software as a service?
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So one of the best ways, of course, is to talk to them. Simple as that. So scheduling the calls, surveys, anything that you can meet them in person. So for example, I've got like a good case that one of the CEOs of the SaaS that we work with, he actually went to his target audience and spent like entire day with them to learn exactly the problems they're facing to, and this was like the best client they have, so they can later replicate to this to the others, essentially. So just to getting so close to your customers, that's the key. I mean, we are oftentimes like, okay, we are blocked by the screens. We're trying to get away from it essentially as much as possible, but then we shouldn't be limited to it. In many ways you can meet your target audience. So yeah, that would be one of the most important aspect, because then you can ask some of the key questions there. Would be around the problems they're having, which is typically like an opening question. But then you should be asking like, okay, like follow-up questions, like, okay, why are you having this problem? And they start explaining to you, okay, why is that? And then you drill down, and until you get real sort of like the meat after actual the problem they're facing. So yeah, that's the yeah, yeah, absolutely, that's the way I would sort of approach it. So like for SaaS, I mean, we work with the marketing folks at SaaS. We oftentimes work with them, as on a weekly basis. We having calls with them, on interacting with them on a daily basis. So you, after a long period of time with interacting with one type of audience, you know what kind of issues they're having. It's That's the beauty of it. If you're jumping from one type of audience to another, it's hard to sort of like have this IPC, uh, in your in mind.
Yeah,
ICP.
nice. And can you tell how AI can help to learn your customers, target
Yeah.
audience? Of course, we can use polls, we can use many different ways, we can call or spend time with customers. But what about AI? This tool can help to learn customers.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because it's got like such a vast data set. So I was recently trying that out. And then essentially with the right prompting, you can come up with a persona, the ICP type. And then you could be drilling down into that specific persona with ChatGPT. What's beautiful about AI in the way it could be used, but actually you can use it to be acting as somebody else, essentially. So when we, for example, we've got like different types of clients in SaaS space. One could be like, I don't know, large corporation in the US that's doing like, for example, like payroll, and then another could be like, a smaller company doing chatbots. These two have like very different, or like the other could be like medical SaaS. So when we're doing SEO, we need to get into the actual sort of like specific target audience of that client. And so you can use ChatGPT and or other AIs to be acting as. So for example, in 1 second, you could be acting as a, I don't know, like payroll manager, and then trying to understand that persona. On the another second, you could be acting as a person who trying to implement the chatbots. And then the third one, you could be acting as a person who is in the healthcare space. Normally, it wouldn't be possible because you would need to really try to get to understand all those three different, very different types of target audiences. But with the use of AI, you could actually tap into the knowledge of the data set to get the bits of information that you need for all sorts of different audiences. So yeah.
Yeah, valuable, valuable. Uh, I wanna ask about one aspect that is hard to ignore in SEO about link building, and I think the last time the impact of link building decreased. Google mentioned that, but we still use link building. I usually prefer PR campaigns. By the way, I wrote a bunch of press releases, pitched them, and got zero mentions, zero links. But I learned
Okay.
how I learned how it works, and then I hired people who can write press releases. I hired people who can pitch them, and after having this mix, we got mentions on CNN, Forbes, Business
Nice.
Insider, and yeah, it's interesting that I edited all these press releases on ChatGPT. So yeah, we can write our press release, but edit on ChatGPT. So even here you can use ChatGPT. And
Yeah.
I want to ask about link building. Can you tell your methods of using link building? Because I see two ways. Uh,
Mhm.
some ASIOs can tell it's very important. Some ASIOs can
Mhm.
tell you don't need link building. And the last time, the number of people who don't use link building increased because
Mhm.
the impact decreased. So
Yeah.
tell
Yeah.
your thoughts about link building.
Yeah.
Do we need to use it? And if we need to, then say how.
Absolutely. So it really depends on the site, to be honest. Some sites that and our clients that they come to us, they really have a strong authority. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of in some ways it's easier. You could do SEO without doing a lot of backlinks. So most of the sites that come to us, like domain rating 70 and above. So yeah, you don't have to do much link building for those types of clients. But then if somebody's like close to lower the domain rating or just starting out, then the authority of link building is really needed because the site is just new. Or they trying to get into the new part of the business. Let's say they acquire, like in SaaS, for example, there's a lot of acquisitions happening, especially after COVID and a couple of other sort of like situations where there's been a lot of layoffs. There's a lot of acquisitions happening, so there could be a SaaS which is acquiring another SaaS, and then essentially they want to enter the new space. So that's potentially where you would want to do more link building. So yeah, or the competitors are like the competition is so competitive that you really need to do some link building. So yeah, that's where it's sort of still important, like massively valuable. There's like many ways of doing it, of course. One of the ways that works in SaaS is guest posting. Still, you know, very old, very old method, very very old. But then you mentioned Forbes and then the other publications. That's kind of like a guest posting as well. Super time consuming, but it works. You just need to get into the right type of site and get your links there. So yeah, definitely that one works. In SaaS, the other methods that it's very much effective is the partnerships and integrations because of the nature of the technology. They are very much connected to others. So let's say you integrate with like 50 other tools, then you can be much closer to them, and then you can also be a guest post on all sorts of sites that actually you're integrating with. So in some ways, it's easier to do link building for SEO, for SaaS that way, but then still it's hard because everybody understand like link building. For now, you don't have to you don't have to be saying like, oh, I'm doing this for like just content. Everybody knows he's doing this for links. It's just
Yeah.
like the perception of like everybody know how to trade. Okay, you're doing this because of the link. So yeah, typically I would just cut the bullshit, in the outreach approach, and then just be like, okay, I've got this piece of content, it's gonna be super viable, and I want to share this with your audience. What do you think? Super simple outreach. That's what we use most of the times, because people just being loaded with loads of stuff. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I agree. I think, yeah, of course, it depends on your authority.
yeah,
Forbes doesn't need link building
yeah,
because websites like Forbes, CNN, these websites have a loyal audience, a big
yeah,
loyal
yeah,
audience, and this audience can promote any content. For example, like Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast doesn't need to promote his
yeah,
videos
yeah, yeah.
because he,
He already did it.
yeah, he can post and get like 10 million views for
Yeah,
an hour, because people love his content, so he doesn't need to promote. And if you build this audience, why not? Yeah, you can use it. If you have no audience, if you started from scratch or low
yeah,
authority, yeah, it's important link building. I agree.
absolutely.
Marcin, I wanna ask about mistakes. I made a lot of terrible mistakes. I made slight mistakes, different mistakes, but I keep doing them. No, it's hard. It's hard to get results without doing mistakes. And for example, if I start something new, as I did with PR, yeah, I started PR myself. I failed, then I learned how it works and could cooperate with great people.
Mm-hmm.
So tell
Yeah,
mistakes that webmasters can avoid from your experience. For example, you can see webmasters do mistakes, but they can avoid them by learning before
yeah,
doing
yeah.
something.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, these days you could learn a lot by reading, because
Mhm.
you could pretty much like find any information. So you can avoid the mistakes by reading how somebody else has avoided that, John. But then chances are that your sort of approach might be sort of like slightly unique. So, but also like you will learn the most by actually doing stuff. That's what when you did the PR, you did it and you learn it. So yeah, So yeah, it's also like the question of like time, and just actually making the mistake. So yeah, you learn that. So like the mistakes that the webmasters can avoid for sure. Uh, I think sort of like something similar I mentioned last time, but then probably it's worth like reminding people that that don't try to optimize for the keywords that like top funnel, and or really doesn't necessarily gonna give you a lot, because people are attracted to big volumes. People are attracted to big volumes. Oh, this keyword has so much, potential, low competition, da da da. But then it doesn't necessarily. I mean, just um just look at your website and then ask yourself, I mean, is this really the keyword I possibly can target? That's probably the most oftentimes mistake. We create content, we spend a lot of time on creating this content, and it's just literally no chances of ranking.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely be honest with yourself, like how in reality I'm going to reach this top, especially now that the top of the search result is so much packed and saturated with like big brands, and everybody is there.
Yeah, leave this job
Yeah,
to Wikipedia. You know, Wikipedia provides a good job to cover top funnel, and yeah,
yeah.
leave it because
But
you can't
also
monetize. Yeah,
like navigate to like the topics in a different way. I mean, for example, like there's always innovation. There's like, for example, ChatGPT AI is coming up now, so everybody who's been writing about ChatGPT have like much higher chances to rank fast. So the innovation is happening all the time. Technology is changing. So yeah, definitely there are new topics that are being talked about. So yeah, that's the way I would probably approach it um, these days.
hmm
So
yeah,
yeah.
awesome. Yeah, love it, love it. Uh, I wanna ask about your experience. It's my common question. I asked before. Wanna ask one more time because we have new listeners. And if you started today from scratch without any experience, knowledge, skills, what will you do today to learn more about SEO?
To learn more about SEO. Oh, that's a good question, man. So first of all, I feel like it's easier to learn now than it was when I was starting. Like nearly 20 years ago. Now you got courses, you got shows like this, you've got your all sorts of ways people can learn. So yeah, there's a lot. And then SEO is a skill that's like quite diverse. You need to be a bit technical but also creative. You need to have a bit of everything, but then you could learn the specific parts of SEO relatively quickly. I mean, you could be like I wouldn't call like expert, but then you could be more up to speed with the SEO within probably months, these days. And then you could be like, I don't know, like 80% good. You don't have to that remaining 20%, because that's the 80% will cover already a lot of knowledge. So yeah, definitely the up to date materials. Look for that. Even if you're searching on YouTube, if you're searching all sorts of different places, social is a good place now that people are sharing. Typically, more like surface level tips. So you would need to go deeper and understand the topics and actually do it yourself. Because if you just follow somebody on social and they keep on sharing stuff on SEO, it's okay. I mean, you could get quite a lot, on LinkedIn or Twitter, X. You can still get a lot from them, but definitely dive deeper into the topics and then do it yourself, essentially. So that's how I'd approach it. And then, if I would now, I would be entering the market. I would probably be learning way more about AI than I was, than anything else.
Yeah,
So yeah, definitely. That's if somebody's listening to this now and then, okay, I want to learn something, definitely learn AI. Because SEO is pretty much the same. Of course, it's changing a lot all the time, but then yeah, the skill of 2023 is definitely like the AI related.
yeah,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think about AI. If you ignore this tool, then you can join people who complain that AI will
Yeah.
replace them. you know, so because I see
Yeah,
experts are excited about AI.
yeah,
All experts are excited how this tool can help them to
yeah,
increase
yeah,
productivity, increase results. But if someone complains, I can feel it. Okay, AI
yeah,
will
yeah,
replace
yeah.
you. Spend this time to learn about AI, to improve your
Exactly.
results. Yeah, and Marcin, I have my last question about the future. So I wanna ask you, take your crystal ball and forecast what kind of future will be in ACO and your tips how we can adapt to this possible future.
Yeah, yeah. Very good question. Very good question. It's always hard one to answer, but now we've got a little bit of sort of a crystal ball, as you say, into what might be happening because of generative AI and the changes that are coming to Google search results. It's gonna be like a huge change the way we interact with search engines. We can already see it in Bing. When you actually get so uh, so much integration between the way we chat with search. That's if you want to see how Google is going to look like, you probably can go to Bing, and then you will see it the future of Google because it seems like they're just going to copy paste what they've done. So yeah, more or less similar thing. So yeah, that's gonna be like vastly different to what we get used to these days. So yeah, the people behavior still need to adapt. They sort of like they want to have options. Most people, that's why we still have SEO as in the game because people want to have options. They don't necessarily want to be spoon feeding. Okay, here's your product, buy just this one, and that's it. So yeah, that's we still want to have options. We want to choose. We want to be in control. So that's the human nature essentially. So yeah, that's still gonna be the place for SEO. Yeah.
Nice, awesome, awesome, love it, love it, Marcin. It's a big pleasure to get in my show to learn from you. I love it, so valuable. You're so kind to share this value. So tell the best way how to keep learning from you, how to reach out to you, how to follow you.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I've enjoyed it as well. So yeah, the best way to find it is just Google my name or just find me on LinkedIn. I'm quite active on like on Twitter, but just mostly just like I've been on the platform, and now they rebranded to X. It's not as great anymore. The best way is probably to find me on LinkedIn. That's been consistent there. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, I got it, guys. You can find the link to in the description below. Listen us on Apple, Google, Spotify. Follow because you can see a lot of value. I personally follow Marcin because I know I want to learn more, and I recommend to anyone to follow and learn more. Okay, guys, love you. See you.
All right.